This is the Aspect workshop on FinTech as an example of good practice in university engagement with business.
Thanks, Ruth. Hi, everyone. As Ruth said, Stuart Harrison, founder and co-director of FinTech West, which is now the representative body and part of FinTech National Network, which we regularly meet as an organisation. Didn't start out that way, but it's grown into quite a high-profile organisation in the region and in FinTech nationally, which is great.
My name's John Beaverstock. I'm at the New School of Management in the University of Bristol. My research interests focus really on the competitiveness of the City of London. And over 2 decades or more, I've done a lot of research on the city as a financial centre, on the globalisation and management of professional service firms, but also the importance of place and the economic geography of the city.
I'm Ruth Welters. I also work in the same faculty as John at the University of Bristol, and I'm the Business Engagement Coordinator for the Faculty of Social Sciences.
In the report and the research we've done, we've defined it very much as the use of technology to enhance and add greater efficiency to financial services. So that's pretty much what you would expect. In some ways, it sort of determines that every financial organisation that wants to do anything nowadays would be a fintech, but clearly we're talking about organisations that have started with the premise of utilising technology to bring services to the financial services market rather than adding on technology afterwards.
I think what's interesting about this is a number of things. I think the first thing is about the role of fintech in wealth creation and the role of fintech in putting a driver for economic growth in a region. And given the industrial strategy and the importance of strength in places, for the Bath, Bristol region, it's a really important future multiplier for regional development in professional and financial services. I think the second thing, and this really sort of carries on from Stuart's thoughts about fin in tech, I think that actually when you begin to look at it very carefully, you can break it down into different sorts of attributes. So, there's fin, or the financial, or the financials, financial services, small firms, medium-sized, large firms. And then you've got the tech, technology, technological change, innovation, disruptive innovation. So it's that blend. And when you begin to look around the landscape of fintech, it's very much populated by, innovators and startups and disruptors in that classic sense. They're driving innovation and they're driving, the next wave, the next cycle, and it happens to be in the context of financial services.
The speed of response has been very frustrating on occasions, particularly when you're coming from a background, and I speak for many of the sort of fintech organisations as well, that particularly the smaller ones. When you come from a background, when you're starting a new business and they're young, they're dynamic, they want to move quickly, and getting the response from, and I won't say just universities, it's larger organisations can be slow. Other key aspects of which again are similarly related to larger organisations is where on earth do you start? I've had people come to me and say, could you introduce me to someone at UE? And I'm like, yeah, who? Where? Roughly, what do you want to know? I have got involved in companies. I think another common thing that often came up was the IP and how IP is handled. Clearly, obviously, if you're engaging on particular projects and how universities handle their contribution to projects or in particular, obviously, if they're doing spin-outs?
Yeah, I think there's been a sea change, I think, in academia and the way in which stakeholders can actually be in co-production, collaboration with the research project. So working closely with stakeholders at the initiation of the project to actually develop a relationship and, you know, to seek knowledge from both parties at the outset. So I think that's the first point. So there's very much an impact agenda. It's not driven by political forces. I think now there's an expectation that research has to be impactful, and that stakeholders are a part of that research process. And in organisations like FinTech and other professional services, you know, the success of the research endeavour is to gain trust and insight into the organisations through developing medium and long-term relationships.